We are going to welcome you back to the Principals Podcast today. Once again, we have Mr. Heim, who's sporting the Blackhawks in this beautiful, snowy, sunny day. And Mr. Bandera's mustache is coming in even more today. It looks very good. We are going into the realm of the four E's. For many of you, you know him as Dominics. For some of you, you know him as DJ Dom. Dom and I go way back to my assistant principal days. We were the pioneers to create the morning announcements. He was really active in student leadership, very good at presenting on the announcements. And we wanted to bring him back to talk a little bit about what he's been doing since high school, and in particular, what he's been doing right now. So, welcome to the show, Dom.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate it. I'm just glad to be here. I feel like I'm back in high school, seeing all the familiar faces.
So, what's the moment that you graduated Chardon High School? You went to Bowling Green.
Correct.
So, tell us a little bit about that experience.
So, in the last couple months of my career at Chardon High School, I was pretty much dedicated to figuring out where I was going to go to college and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, basically. And through the high school announcements, I kind of gained a passion for just telling people what they needed to know and how to get that information was vital for me. And so as I continued to look into what school I wanted to go to, I looked at a couple different options. I looked at Kent, looked at BG, looked at OU, and I felt like when I went to BG, that was home for me. I, visited their campus, and that's where I wanted to be. They had just built a brand new broadcasting studio, so that was just huge for me. I got there, got involved in a lot of the student organizations that put on the student media and stuff like that, and just kind of found my fit. I basically had a loss for words, but I basically tried out for their anchor position, and they accepted me. And so from then, I just got involved in their organization and kind of was shooting news stories on my own, going out, doing it all on my own time. A lot of it was actually not a lot of it, all of it was unpaid. So all of it was just kind of doing it on my own, going out and kind of figuring it out because I really had not done any sort of real news coverage. And then my classes just started teaching me kind of more and more about what I needed to know as far as covering news. And then I got involved at a studio down there, a PBS studio, and I worked there for 3 years. And we covered all of BGSU's sporting events. And what was really cool about that, all of our footage was premiered on ESPN3. So we basically were working in a way for ESPN. So our basketball games were going straight to ESPN. So if you ever watch an ESPN game of BGSU, that was completely student run. We have one staff member, and he is the director, and the rest is completely student run. So those are just basically ways that I kind of got myself involved at BGSU, just learning about the campus as far as how to get involved. I also kind of took a little bit of a back seat, I think, once I got to college. All of my high school career was so dedicated in being involved and being in leadership roles and doing that kind of stuff that once I got to college, I kind of said, you know what, I think it's time to take a back seat and just kind of let other people take the leadership roles and kind of roll with it from there. And so I definitely lived that motto through my college career because I was so overly bogged down with leadership roles and student government at Chardon that I was like, I think it's time to just take a back seat and get involved as much as I want to, and then know where to draw the line and how to say no, because that was one of my biggest things, was learning to say no when people ask me to do different things, as you know, Doug.
What's your you talked about Bowling Green. My brother and sister both graduated from Bowling Green. What's your thoughts on the pizza at Bowling Green?
There's a lot of it, I'll give you that. And it's actually funny because when I worked at that PBS station, we would do like a little tour of all the pizza restaurants. Every basketball game, they would bring in a new restaurant of pizza, and some got very old very fast, and some were decent, but I'll take whatever. Pizza's good, I think.
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
You made your way over. We saw you intern at WKYC. Are you still doing the similar roles there?
So what basically happened at WKYC was that I applied for their internship program last summer. They brought me in as an intern. I worked all summer there, and then I was basically dedicated to making sure that I had a spot there when I graduated. So I made it known to them that I wanted to come back. I said, I would like to be back during my winter session. I need another internship to graduate, so I will be back. And I kind of just told everybody that I'm making it a commitment to be back here. So when it came around wintertime, I got a text message from our executive director and said, hey, we have the room. We need another intern. We'd love to bring you back. And so I came back as an intern for my winter session, which worked out perfectly because it got me enough hours and I was able to get the credit that I needed to graduate. And then halfway through that internship, another manager came up to me and said, hey, we're looking for a part-time photographer. I know you're in school, but would you be able to swing something? Is this something you'd be interested in? And just immediately, I mean, I grabbed it as fast as I could. He did let me know that it would be weekends, so I had to basically give up my weekends at BG and say, hey, I got to commit to driving home every single weekend. And I was totally fine with that because I knew this was one way to keep my foot in the door. So basically, committed to that. I've been working weekends now, weekend mornings, which I should also add. On Saturday, I get up at 2:45, and on Sunday, I get up at 3:45. Which is a little rough. It's definitely brutal for sure, but I'm hoping this is temporary for now until they offer me a full-time position, which would be sweet.
Mhm.
We were able to watch you a few times, kind of in the real studio, kind of running through your internship experience. Your ultimate goal is to be not the one holding the camera, but the one on the other side, correct?
That's definitely for sure. Yeah. But just like any other position, you got to work your way up for sure. And, not to say that I'm at the bottom of the pole right now, but I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. And especially because Cleveland is a huge television market. There's no way you can walk in there having zero experience. I mean, I have experience, but you don't have experience at a real television network. There's no way you can walk in and say, "Hey, I want to sit at the desk. I'm going to be the anchor," and they're going to look at you and laugh in your face and throw your application in the garbage. So this is a way that I was able to get in the door, start at the bottom, do the dirty work, so that I can eventually find myself in front of the camera. And this gives me tons and tons of experience as well. Just being able to, the things I see on the weekends, the things I get to do on the weekends are just crazy. It kind of, in a way, for me right now, especially with this whole quarantine going on and everything that's going on with this virus, it has made you really cherish moments of life, I believe, because I go to these different crime scenes on the weekend. I go to these horrific, terrible things that are going on, really that aren't too far from where we live, and it really just makes you cherish, the moments that you have in life. And I think that's something that's huge in working there right now.
That was gonna be
Talk
similar to my
about
next similar. I'm sorry, Mr. Heim. Go ahead. I'll let you go first.
well, you talk about wanting to stay with Cleveland WKYC, but what if someone else called you around the United States? Would you be open to going elsewhere, just get started, and then maybe coming back home?
So, in a lot of conversations that I've had with other reporters, other people that are in the business right now, it's about a 50-50 split. They say, hey, you got to take a job that's in the middle of Maine in a small little town that nobody watches the news so that you can get that experience and then come back. So if that's what I had to do, I mean, that's what I would have to do. Pack the bags and move away for a little while so that I can get that groundwork and kind of experience what it's like to work in like a small little network, because Channel 3 is a very large market and it's not easy to get into something like that, which is why I'm hoping and praying that the route I'm going, it would be amazing if I could walk into a reporting job, but we'll see. Nobody said for sure either way, so it's kind of up in the air right now.
How has this coronavirus, over the last few weeks, how has that changed your work in the media?
It's changed a ton. Even just so much as far as at the way everybody is right now, as far as being remote, that has changed us entirely. The studio right now basically has about all of 3 to 4 people in it at any given time. Whereas a normal day where this wouldn't be going on, you would probably see anywhere to 100 people in the studio. That's from marketing, sales, everywhere, promotions, all around the board. Where I'm not even allowed to step foot in the building, and neither is anybody else. So that in that aspect, it's changed a ton, especially considering we're out shooting video, and then all that video has to make it back to the station over the internet. And when you're working off a Wi-Fi hotspot and everybody's using the internet right now, it's changed a ton.
Sure.
In that aspect, it's different, but also, I mean, we are going to these events and things that are going on, and these food giveaways and these different donation drives and stuff like that. There's still people everywhere, and it's always on your mind. Like, I mean, I wear protection as much as I can. I wear a mask and gloves and all that kind of stuff. But you encounter all these people who really maybe aren't taking it so seriously, and they get all up in your face. They get in your personal space, and it's become very difficult. And I got to figure out the right way to say it. But about saying, hey, get back, like 6 feet, please stay back. Just social distance, just your basic social distancing things that some people don't necessarily take for.
What are some of the platforms that your on-air guests or hosts are using at their home? Are they using Zoom? What are they using? Because I've seen it, and it's like some of them have like a big screen and it's got WKYC on it or Fox 8, and then they have their monitors, and then there's somebody recording them. Like, do you know what they're using?
So it's actually pretty interesting. Depending on which reporter and who you're talking to, some don't even want a photographer in their house. So sometimes a lot of what I've seen and a lot of the reporters that I'm watching and that we're doing is it's all through your phone. So your phone is up on a tripod, and we have an app that we use that allows us to enable us to go live from anywhere. So all the reporters have their phone set up on a tripod, and they just are able to go live right from their phone, and then that feed makes it back to the station, allowing them to then end up in the broadcast. But Zoom has been a huge thing as far as the way that we're communicating day in and day out. Every day there's 2 meetings, one in the morning, one at night, with everybody who's on for that day. And we just discuss, obviously, all the story ideas for the day. And Zoom has just been huge as far as being able to contact with each other and just kind of everybody throwing out their ideas, and then the managers being able to pick, what story they're going to run for the day. But Zoom has been huge. But then people are setting up monitors, getting their houses to look as close to a studio as they possibly can so that it feels as normal as possible. But I think that's another thing too, is that people are noticing that we're changing and seeing that we obviously have to follow all these guidelines as well. And for a little while, there was some pushback and people leaving the station, but it was only right for us to, if we're telling all these people, hey, practice social distancing, stay away from each other, and then you're watching a news show and everybody's on top of each other, it just doesn't seem right. So really, unless you are vitally important to the production of the show, you are not in the station at all. And it's changed, and it's very difficult to work right now, but everybody's just kind of adapting right now.
Dom, we've been asking a lot of ourselves lately, is this going to have any lasting effects? We're just speculating right now, do snow days no longer exist because, we'll just switch over to a digital learning day?
Yeah.
Or things like that. I'm not telling the students that there'll never be a snow day again. I'm not saying that, but we're just, we're talking about lots of different things and, lots of different ways to deliver instruction in the media. Do you think this will have a lasting impact, or do you think things will go back to completely normal eventually, or what's your thoughts on that?
I think, specifically as far as going back to normal, I think a lot of people are looking at May 1st coming around the corner, and doors are going to be open and everything's going to be normal. And I think if you listen to the governor and the way DeWine has been talking about this three-part phase that he wants to put in place, and things are slowly going to get back to a new normal, I think.
Mhm.
I think we all make jokes at Channel 3 now because everybody's like, oh, well, if I could just work from home now, what's the point of me ever going back to work? I could just do it from home. But I think that's going to be part of this new normal that we're going to find ourselves in. I think for a long time, we're going to be practicing this social distancing, and just there's going to be new normal guidelines that are put in place as far as, when you go to the grocery store, you're going to see a lot of different things. You're going to, these plexiglass boards that they put up. And even being an employee at all these, it's so different now. The amounts of food people are buying is just insane. I just had a guy last night come through. He's an Instacart worker, and he spent $375 for an individual. He had 4 carts full, and he was buying it for this lady who probably didn't want to go grocery shopping for I don't know how long. But I just think that is just going to be. I'm not saying that massive grocery shopping is going to be the new normal, but I think limiting your exposure is going to be, I think, for a long time until there's any sort of vaccine or a cure or anything like that. I think there's going to be a new normal for a little while.
$300 and some at Aldi. That's a challenge.
That's
really that's a lot of items.
That's like 2 rows.
Yeah. Actually, halfway through his grocery trip, he took his phone to the car and was like, I got to because my phone's about to die. So can you watch these groceries so I can go charge my phone for a little while? But yeah, it's definitely a challenge to spend $370 some at Aldi's.
There's other Ferrantes in that house. Where's Stephanie?
Stephanie right now, she finished up her career at Oklahoma State University. As far as her athletic career goes, she finished that up there, which was bittersweet for her. I can tell she was definitely missing it in the sense that the constant drive of just being able to work out, going out, doing all that kind of stuff. So she finished up there, and then she went over to the other OSU. And so now she's at Ohio State University, working with them on finishing up there, getting her MCAT done so that she can go in and get her doctorate. So that is where she's at right now. She's down in Columbus. And then the other 2 knuckleheads are at home running around like crazy.
Do they wear shirts during the day? Because we're seeing a lot of these high school boys not wearing their shirt during the day.
I don't think there's a lot of that going on. I can promise there's no shirt wearing going on in the house.
Oh, jeez.
Just a lot of video gaming. I could tell you the Xbox is getting its workout right now. And
what's their game of choice right now?
I know Call of Duty is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're playing Fortnite quite as much. I know that was big. I played it for a little while, and then I could never get hip to it. So I know that's what they've been doing. Video gaming all the time. Some don't wake up till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's usually when they get out of bed.
Boy, you're really putting them on the spot about cutting their classes in the morning and everything. Boy, you know what? They're going to be in your office, Bandera.
I guess
take care of this.
Hey, I guess our behavior referrals are down this quarter.
Well, you know what? At least we got that going for us.
You used the phrase "getting hip to it." On the side, you are DJ Dom.
Oh yeah.
That's so. Was your last venue our sock hop Sadie Hawkins dance?
It was, yeah. I didn't have, there were a couple people who had reached out to me about some events that they wanted to do, but they didn't match up with my schedule. But I'm thinking that if I would have had committed to them, who knows if they would have gone down due to everything that's going on. There were a couple events, but yeah, my last event was at the Sadie Hawkins dance with you guys, which was a blast.
It was a lot of fun. And Mr. Bandera, Mr. Heim, and I on the daily are getting questions about various events. Prom is one of them. And although we have a backup date, we have to follow the phase 1, 2, 3 plan that the governor has. If there is any way that we need to find an alternate route, are you willing to be DJ Dom, the prom king, and putting on a show for us virtually?
I would definitely do my best to give you guys whatever we can make work for sure. I think it would be kind of neat if we could do like a little virtual prom for those that, especially your junior or your seniors right now. I mean, that's tough for them, I think, for sure, that their prom is on the line. And I know there's a lot of hope that there's a backup date, but like I said, that new normal isn't going to be, being able to put on a high school dance or a prom, should I say, in one room where there's all these people, crowded together. But a virtual event would be pretty sweet. I think it'd be something we could try and pull off for sure. I know over at Munson Elementary, they put together a little father-daughter dance that they did virtually, which I thought was pretty neat. And I think a lot of that, like I said, is going back to that new normal. I think there's going to be definitely a new normal for a little while, and that would be something that would be really, really sweet that we could put together.
Dom, you talked about, you're extremely involved in high school. I missed you, I think, by a year there when I came in, but your name's still talked about in different wings of the building for different things, which is awesome. I mean, definitely left a legacy there. Our seniors kind of feel a little down after yesterday's announcement. I mean, everyone always says, "Oh, I don't want to be in school," but then when they can't be in school, they want to be in school right now. Do you have any words of advice for those seniors, those students, whose senior year maybe it feels like it's been cut short a little bit?
I definitely would have to say, to the seniors, things are going to be different right now. And I think a lot of things you got to think about as to the reason why they're a little different. Protecting lives, I think, is huge as far as why we aren't in school right now. But for those seniors, it's tough. And I think I could definitely, if I were in their shoes, I'd definitely be terribly upset not being able to have that last, prom, not being able to, hang out and do those kind of things. So I definitely think it's tough. But I think going back to just realizing why we're doing the things that we're doing. And if you look at the numbers as far as where we're at in Ohio and why we're doing so well is because there are so many strict guidelines in the way that we're doing things that it's working. And from all the experts that we've talked to, things are working and we're doing the right thing. And I think it's tough right now. And I feel for the seniors for sure, because this is not anything you want. And in a sense, on the other side of the door, I'm a senior at college. I mean, I'm in my last semester, and I basically packed up my apartment a couple weeks ago, moved everything home, and said I'm home for good now, which was definitely a little devastating.
Sure.
Except for that senioritis was in the back door, so I was I was like excited to move everything home. But it is devastating and it's upsetting for a lot of people, I think, and seniors especially. You want those lasting moments. And my commencement was moved. I mean, who knows what my commencement's going to look like, just like the seniors graduating. So I definitely feel for them, and I think it's upsetting. But on the other hand, you got to remember we're doing the right thing, and we're doing it for a good reason, I think.
Yeah. Well, am I up for my question?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
So a couple things. I've been asking everyone what their favorite quarantine meal is, and also I've kind of been asking about, what's the biggest thing you miss? I think at least I've caught up with you a couple sporting events before. I think you're a big sports fan. Is it a sporting event? Is there something that you're really, really missing during this time? So first meal, and then second most missed event.
My favorite quarantine meal, I think right now, I have to say, me and my girlfriend have been getting hip to making homemade sushi. So we've been learning here and there how to kind of put it together. And I think that's been my favorite meal so far, is just getting all the ingredients and working on putting it together, because it's not easy. I'll say that for anybody who wants to give it a shot. It's not easy, but it's fun. And it's definitely something that takes a little bit of time and perfection. So sushi would be homemade sushi. Not to knock any store-bought sushi, because there's definitely some sushi restaurants out there that'll definitely top my homemade sushi. But I already forgot. What was your other question?
What event have you missed the most, or is it is there something that you've missed since everything's been kind of closed?
I think, especially because I was at school, I mean, I miss the grind of being at school and doing that kind of stuff. Just like all the other, students out there that are missing that aspect of school, being able to see all your friends, being able to see your teachers, being able to get a lecture from your professor. I've noticed myself, school's been very different and a little more difficult, because you're kind of taking it all into your own hands and trying to figure out how to teach yourself, which has been a little hard. But I'd have to say the thing I miss the most would be on the weekends. We would try at work at WKYC, we would try and focus on different events that are going on, festivals, that kind of stuff. That was kind of what our grind was like on the weekends. and now it's not at all. We got to meet so many cool different people between Indians players and stuff like that. When what was it? I forget we were at a tribe event.
Fest.
Yeah, Tribe Fest, exactly. We get to meet a bunch of players. We're there before they open the doors. We get to see all these things, go to all these festivals, all that kind of cool stuff. And now all that's been put to a halt. So I'd say that definitely for sure has been something that I've missed, because me and my reporter, we have such a great time when we go out and we get to see all these cool things. And right now, I haven't seen my reporter in a couple weeks because we are remote and we aren't allowed to be in the same car and all that kind of stuff. So that would probably be what I miss the most.
Any final shout outs that you want to give to your homies in Chardon or WKYC or BG?
Any final shout outs, just I guess I'd like to throw a quick shout out to all the teachers. All you guys are out there working extremely hard. I know a lot of professors down at BG, when they found out that they were going to have to go virtual, some of them had never done an online class before. And they had 1 week to throw an entire class together online. So I definitely throw a quick shout out to them. They're definitely working a lot harder than they probably may have had to used to. And then your first responders. I mean, I have a lot of family members that are on the front lines in healthcare and firefighters and all of them. And, some of them have never gone through something like this. Probably none of them have gone through something like this. And, they're working a lot harder and just being there for the people that need it the most right now, as far as that. And then you guys, administrators and stuff like that, who are also kind of in the front lines in another sense. You have 1,100 students or more, looking to you guys for answers, because a lot of them, this is an unknown time for sure. And I think a lot of people don't know how to act right now or what to do, or how am I going to get this 5-page paper done in X amount of time, when all I've learned is, to read a textbook or listen to a video. So just a lot of people on the front line are just struggling right now. So I like to give them a quick little shout out, and then just everybody else that's kind of in the quarantine time right now, just know we're going to get through this in no time. And we'll get to that new normal for sure.
How do we follow you? How do we follow? Like, I saw your one photo of Lake Erie and the sunset. So how do folks get to follow you and see what you're up to?
So I do have a page on Facebook. It's Dominic Ferrante, WKYC. I like to post a little. Right now I'm doing a lot of like scenic different things. Like I was out at Menor Headlands last weekend shooting some of the sunrises, which was pretty sweet. So I try to post stuff on there. I do have a Twitter account at DJ Ferrante1. You can follow me on there. I try to post stuff. I'm more of a Facebook guy, so you'll see more on Facebook than I will a lot of my other platforms. But Facebook is for sure where you'll see some of my work for sure.
Well, we truly appreciate your time. This has been very insightful. It's been a joy for me to watch you grow tremendously from really a lot of it sophomore, junior, senior year, and then what you've been up to. You certainly have matured, much like your last name, a fine Ferrante.
We're still working on your brothers, though. They're work in progress.
No, they're.
I'll keep my comments to myself since I already threw them in the dirt enough.
Yeah, they need to be back in school so we can keep molding them.
Exactly. That's what it takes. Your senior year is when you'll be put together, I think, for sure.
You can watch us later too and give us a little critique here about our news professionalism.
Yeah, I'll look back on a couple of your videos and I'll give you guys some critiques for sure.
Looking forward to it.
Hey, do you remember, before we run, do you remember having to record, edit, render, and publish the morning announcements before school? And sometime it was like 7:22. We're like, let's go. Those were hectic days.
Hectic days, but it's so crazy because that is no different from what we're doing sometimes in the field. I mean, I've been out at a couple different breaking news stories where things are literally happening as we're speaking. Buildings are burning, houses are burning, and I'm in the car shooting. I shoot video, and then I'll pull it off the SD card. I'm in the car typing, editing it real quick because I got 10 minutes before it's about to air. And it's so funny because it's no different than what we were doing at 7 o'clock in the morning, waiting for things to export because the news the news goes on. And the last thing I'll say about news is that it's the one job that at 6 o'clock, no matter when you start, it's all due at 6 o'clock. So you could start at 4, you could start at 5, but it's all due at 6 o'clock, no matter when you start.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your time.
Yeah.
We'll definitely try to touch base again, in various capacities. I know we see you all the time, but again, we'll throw that out there that we might be able to throw a house party with DJ Dom.
Oh yeah.
Pumping the bass, and Mr. Heim can take his headphones off so he doesn't have to listen to it as loud. Mr. Bandera will bring his scissors so he can cut off wristbands virtually.
I prefer the flashlight instead.
Yeah, you are the flashlight man.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to keep in touch. A virtual prom would be definitely something to go down in the books for sure. That'd be sweet.
Yes.
Well, you take care, and we will see you soon on the news.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Thanks
having
for
me.
joining us.
Thanks.
Yes.